All right, so this is for the taper face. We're gonna hit the create button again and do a new document. Okay, so you're gonna title this one taper face. Okay, include your last name and your first initial there too. And once it opens up, we're just gonna work on the top plane. Okay, so you can come over here and you can turn off front and turn off right. And then go ahead and on your view cube over on the right hand side, click on top so you just see this. So select that plane, okay, so it'll turn gold and hit sketch. So your sketch will be aligned with that top plane. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to draw a rectangle. Now remember in OnShape, you draw it and then you manipulate it. So we're going to hit our dimension tool and I'm going to hit this line and pull it out. And I want this one to be 50, okay? Then I'm going to scroll back because it's going to get too big. And then I'm going to hit this line and pull it out. And I want that to be 28. Okay. Now the next thing I need to do is place the circle. So I'm going to use the line tool here. And I'm going to make a line that goes to 21. Because if you look at your diagram that I gave you for this specific entity, you have a side that's 7 depth and the center of the circle is at 14. So if we add 14 and 7 together, that's 21. So I want to be along this plane. My thing messed up. I want to be along this plane and I'm just going to click it, okay? And then come up to my dimension tool and you want to make sure that you actually click the smaller of the two and it's not doing what I want. So let's just put another line in there because that one's messed up. And we're going to go like this, okay? And then hopefully that stayed. Why is it not doing what I want it to do? That's fine. Okay, this one I can make 21, okay? So sometimes it's going to take a little more effort than we're used to, but that's okay. And then from this one, draw a line up and then make it 14 because the center is 14. Okay. And that'll put where your center of your circle is. And if you look at your diagram, the circle itself has a radius of 7. It's 7 up and it's 14 up and 14 out. And it's centered on the rectangle, and the rectangle is 28. Okay, so make sure you understand why this is 14. So I'm going to drag this out and then re-measure it to be the diameter of 14 that I want. Okay. So now I'm going to clean it up a little bit because I want to extrude it. So I'm going to use this trim tool and I'm going to take out this line, and then these other little lines that don't really necessarily need to exist. Okay, go away. Okay. And there's one right here that can go, oops, we don't want that. I will leave it because that's not going to bother our extrusion. So now I'm going to set it in an isometric view and I'm going to hit extrude. Now I don't want that in it. Okay, so it'll automatically extrude up. Remember, you can hit the arrow if you want it to go down, but this will go up and we'll type in 7 because if you look at the front angle, you'll see that it's giving that plate a height of 7. So it'll automatically take out this hole that we didn't want in it to begin with. So the next thing we need to do is say, okay, we're good with that entity and move on. So you'll hit sketch again. This top plane of the object is now going to be your sketch plane. Okay, and you'll see sketch 2 starts there. And I'm going to leave it in this view and I'm going to use a rectangle tool to draw another rectangle. Okay, and if you look at your diagram, you have a rectangle that is 28 long and 7 wide. So I'm going to come back here. The 28, as long as it's snapped onto your edges, should be exact, but I want to make sure it's 7. Then I have another rectangle that is 14 long and it forms kind of an L at the base, 14 long and 7 wide. So I'm going to hit my triangle again and not my triangle, my rectangle again. And I'm going to make a rectangle on that base. And then I'm going to use my diameter tool or my dimension tool. Gosh, I just can't speak today. And hit 14. And then I'm going to do it again here and make sure that's 7. Okay. So then come in with your trim and just cut out the excess lines. Okay. So we also need another rectangle on the far side of this object. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm good with that sketch here. And I'm going to do another sketch, and it's going to be on this plane. And this is going to be another rectangle, and it's going to go, whoops, don't know why that happened. So I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to choose the rectangle tool again, and I'm going to draw it out to be about right. And then I'm going to make sure it's right with my dimension tool. So once I do that, I should have a rectangle on one side and then a rectangle L on the other. Okay. And I'm going to choose this one to extrude. Okay. So I just want this, and I want this height to be 21. So look, your base is 7 and the overall height is 28. So if I subtract 7 from 28, it's at 21. Okay. Now I should be able to do this one as well, and it'll go up to the same height. Okay. So I clicked both. They're up at the same height. I'm going to say yes. Okay. So now I have my full entity, but as you can tell, I don't have this front angle, the taper face. Now in AutoCAD, I'd use a taper face tool, and I would select this plane and that plane, and then I would cut it back 14 from the midpoint. However, with this program, you don't necessarily need that. You don't need it in AutoCAD either, but it was just a way of learning that specific tool. What we're going to do is we're going to do a fillet edge or a chamfer edge, okay? Because we want that angle. So when we hit chamfer, I'm going to hit specifically that edge, and I'm going to make sure that I'm on equal distance. Doesn't need to be, but we want it to be, because when we look at our diagram, we see that we have 14 left from the front side and the top side of those face planes. So the front face plane's 14 and the back face plane's 14. So if my overall depth and height is 28, then I know that it's even. Both sides are the same. Okay, so 14 minus 28 is 14. And so I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to do another taper over on this side, equidistance again, and it should be the same. Okay. And so this should be your final object. All right. So hopefully that helps you on this assignment.